All right, so now I'm going to get a little more practical with the idea of plot line. I'm going to give you some specific plot lines that I use on a regular basis, okay? Now, obviously, anything that comes up in the interaction that can be used to play with, to create a plot line, to create drama between you and the girl, that's a great thing to have happen organically. But that's not just going to happen in every interaction. Let's say you're in sort of a more mundane conversation. What can you do with that to make it more sexual, to give it a plot line, that kind of thing? So I'm going to give you 3 specific examples of plot lines that I use, and there are literally an infinite number. These are not like the exclusive 3 you have to use. These are just 3 good examples so you get the idea, okay? So don't think that you need to go out and do these 3 in every single interaction, okay? But first one that I use a ton is, at first you didn't impress me, or first I didn't like you, but now you're starting to grow on me, okay? So what you might do, you go in and you like, you know, teasing them like, wow, you blink a lot, or wow, that's really weird. Or, yeah, you and I aren't going to get along. You say something like that. It's like a classic neg type of a thing. So you start out just teasing the girl, or be like, yeah, don't get any ideas. It's not going to work out. Or you're never going to get in my pants talking like that. Any of these kind of things, right? Or you're going to say like, yeah, I'm not going to kiss you. Don't think it. Any kind of a push away kind of a statement, right? And then once you've kind of like pushed the girl away a couple times, especially this works really well with a crowd if her friends are around, because oftentimes, especially if she's like the really hot one, her friends are used to her getting all the attention and they're kind of jealous of her anyway. And so when you kind of like push her away a little bit, the friends are like, haha, yeah, somebody's finally giving her what she deserves. And so they actually get on your side a lot of times. But so you push her away a couple times, and then either she says something that gives you an excuse to be like, wow, wait, that's actually really cool. Wow, you're kind of winning me over. Or wow, that's really cool. I didn't expect that from you, right? Something like that where you're like kind of realizing that she's kind of cool. Or you can manufacture it yourself. Be like, actually, you know what? Like, I have to give you credit. Like, you take my shit relatively well. You're not so bad, right? So what you do is you gradually let her win you over. But you start off with the pushing away and let her win you over after the fact. It's a pretty useful dynamic that you can set up in the interaction. And I'm going to talk about 2 more. Before I get into those, actually, I want to talk about something kind of more philosophical, which is the fact that, like, you might be thinking to yourself, this sounds really manipulative. And you're right. I am manipulating her emotions. But the question is, to what end, right? In the sense that the movie director manipulates our emotions by creating drama in his movie and making us feel some like fear or anxiety or whatever in the movie, and it makes the overall experience better. You're essentially doing the same thing for her because of all the things I talked about in the previous couple of videos about the plot line. Okay, so yes, creating a plot line is manipulative. You are manipulating her emotions, but you're manipulating them to a good and pleasurable cause, to the cause of making everything between the two of you more relevant, more fun, etc. Also, do note that even if I am negging the girl, I'm not actually trying to like completely undermine her self-esteem and like make her want to slit her wrists or anything like that, right? I'm just, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It's all very playful. It's all very positive, and I never do anything that's overtly insulting. Okay, I do stuff that's like ambiguous or could be taken in an insulting way, or could be taken in a way that makes her anxious or makes her wonder, but I'm never like, you're a piece of shit. I never do that kind of stuff, okay? So I'm never insulting either, but I just want to make that quick point. All right, so that's number 1 plot line though, that I do use a lot, which is, at first you didn't impress me, but now you're starting to. And you could phrase that a lot of different ways, but it's the same general idea. Second plot line that's really good, and this plot line I actually recommend to anybody who has trouble with escalation. If you're like, beginner, intermediate, you have trouble getting physical, getting sexual with a girl, trouble expressing your sexuality, this one's absolutely brilliant. Something I call Sweetie Game. And the idea here is that you're essentially playing the role of sort of like, I don't want to say sex addict, but something along those lines. Think of it as like hopeless romantic. Like you're trying so hard not to be a player. You're trying not to get attracted and get embroiled in another thing with a new girl, but you just can't help yourself because you love women so much. Okay, something along those lines is what you're playing. And so the way this would play out is you could give a girl like a compliment, but oh, you're so cute, stop being so cute. Like seriously, like I'm trying so hard not to like you, let's not do this. So instead of it being like you don't like her at all, which is the previous plotline, in this case it's you like her a lot, but there's this other external obstacle, which is you sort of resisting yourself or resisting your desire or not wanting to get into anything with her because you have your own personal things, you want to take it slow, that kind of stuff. This is very similar to stealing the frame that a lot of girls use. A lot of girls use this when they get attracted to a guy, and they're not using it, they're actually feeling it, right? Which is that they're attracted, but they're worried about it'll make them look slutty, or they're worried how they'd be judged, or they're worried about getting too emotional and then getting hurt. right? So you're kind of flipping the script and playing that role, and that can be very, very, very useful, very, very powerful, because now you're taking what would normally be this very like straightforward, obvious escalation, and because you're throwing up these barriers, because you're creating this tension and drama throughout the process, you're making it much more engaging for the girl, and you're putting in her mind this little bit of wonder as to whether or not she can actually have you or whether or not it's actually going to work out. And that makes the experience so much better for her. Nobody wants to watch a movie where they already know the end of the movie at the start, okay? You want some surprise at the end of the movie, and having this drama, having this tension helps to create that surprise and make the whole experience better for everybody. Okay, so that's the second one is, I really like you, but I'm trying not to, or I'm holding back, or I've been hurt, or whatever, something along those lines. Okay, so that's plot line number 2. This is very, very useful. Use it a lot. I actually use that more so earlier on in my pickup career, but I still do use it. And I like to use it later on. Like maybe I'll use that as a subplot line now after the girls won me over. So maybe I'll use the two of them together, right? So the first is you're not impressing me. Oh, now you're starting to win me over. And then later on, to make the escalation not so like formulaic, I'll maybe use I like you, but I still am not so sure. I'm still holding back. And it's actually very congruent with the initial one as well. So that's pretty good as well. And then the third plot line I want to throw out is kind of like a funny, fun one that you can do. But when I've done it, it's actually been massively effective. But I just want to show you how kind of extreme you can go with it and how silly and funny you can go with it and how it doesn't have to be real. Like the girl doesn't have to fully buy into every bit of it. It's all about giving her the experience. So the third plot line I want to introduce is walking up to the girl and just pretending she's your ex-girlfriend. Just literally pretending there's some past relationship there that doesn't exist. You just walk up and be like, oh my God, what are you doing here? It's been so long. It's so good to see you. And you just literally act as though she's your ex-girlfriend. Or like, you'd be like, I have to say like, you're looking amazing. Have you wow, I'm overwhelmed. Give me a second, right? Actually play it out as though she actually were this thing. And now she knows she's not your ex-girlfriend. She's aware of it. And she might be like, do I know you and that kind of stuff. And if at that point you break the frame and you're like, no, I'm just kidding. You could do that and still be fun and still be cute. But the really fun way to play is be like, oh God, look, I know we ended badly, but you really have to go there, right? And keep playing it. And at a certain point, if your frame is strong enough, and because it's important, because it's so much fun for her, a lot of times she'll get into it. Like she's not actually convinced she's your ex-girlfriend. She knows she's not. But she will actually start playing along. She'll be like, yeah, I know, I was bad too, da-da-da-da-da. And now you're golden, because now you have this whole like make-believe fun world where you can play and you can have fun and you can be flirty. And because it's not you being flirty, in reality it's not her being flirty, it's this couple that doesn't really exist being flirty with each other. It opens up all these like areas where she can let her natural passion out and let her natural sexuality out without it being slutty. And it just makes the whole process more fun. It introduces drama, it introduces tension. And again, she knows it's not real, but she goes with it because she enjoys it, okay? And also the fact that you were able to keep the frame and be fun and be funny within that frame conveys so many positive qualities about you. So that's a third sort of plot line you can adopt. Now, do you have to do something like as cheesy as that last thing, like implement this like crazy outlandish plot line in every interaction in order to get the girl? No, you do not, okay? Do you even have to like be quite as like overt and formulaic as I've been explaining these three plot lines? No. But you do need to introduce some kind of drama in the interaction, okay? And there does need to be some sort of like character progression in terms of the relationship between you and the girl. If that doesn't exist, you're going to have massive trouble, okay? I'm going to give you now the most baseline way to do this, which is completely without any like formulaic plot line, which is what I call verbal escalation, which means going from I to you to we. So when you're first talking, you're talking about yourself and using the pronoun I, as in talking about myself. And there's no risk there because she can't object to anything with the pronoun I attached to it. Then you start using the pronoun you, talking about her. You're this, you're that, you're the other. And now it's a little more intimate for her. It's a little more risky, right? You could potentially overstep doing that, but it also is a lot more interesting for her because it's about her. And then finally, you start, as the relationship progresses, you start using the pronoun we, as in you and her together, and implying that the two of you are together. And as soon as she starts saying we back to you, yeah, we are good together, yeah, we will do this, oh, we could travel, we could do this, now you're in, because now she's looking at you as a couple, okay? So that's another very simple form of plot line that tends to happen naturally and organically in interaction, which is you are these two separate people, and eventually once you acknowledge that there's something together, you start using that other pronoun. So that's a very, very simple, not nearly as formulaic one that kind of happens naturally. So these plot lines, they don't have to be this crazy construction. I'm telling you those as an illustration, but the thing that must happen is there has to be some kind of drama and tension, and there has to be some kind of progression in the relationship. That's absolutely critical.